say free when you're singled out.
Well, hey gang, it's Tommy here, Off-Grid Nation. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. It's 2018. That's crazy. I wanted to address some things that have been kind of kicking around in my old noggin here. First off, I'm going to fully admit right up front that I am a recovering statist. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by recovering statist is this. I used to drink the Kool-Aid, guys. I voted for Bush both times. I voted for his dad. That's what I did. I voted against Clinton. You know, I believed that voting was going to help change something. It was my civic duty. Not just my right, but my civic duty. I believed that the police were there to protect me. I believed that we supported our men and women in the military, that they were out there defending our rights and our democracy. I believed all that stuff. I've since been educated, and I'm now under the belief, and I believe it to be true, that it's all a lie, it's all BS. And I think many of us in the patriot community, or, you know, I think most of us in homesteading and prepping would consider ourselves to be conservative. Most, not all. Conservative people with, you know, probably mostly Christian values. And I'm not painting a brush here to get everybody in the same boat. But I'm trying to come at you and let you know where my decision-making processes or my thought process is coming from, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I'm just hanging out here on the floor in front of the wood stove because it's so doggone cold out. I thought I'd have a chat with you guys and kind of reconcile what's going on in my head and have an open, honest discussion that I think is lacking in this alt media that has been deemed, you know, the truth media. So many folks out there are parroting this QAnon, Donald Trump, deep state, counter coup bullshit. I'm going to just call it what it is. I think it's bullshit. First off, we got to think about what we're really following here. We're going after an anonymous, supposedly person, could very well be AI, artificial intelligence, but supposedly some anonymous poster on 4chan or 8chan, which are message boards, I guess, that most of us have never heard of prior to last month, and this whole QAnon thing exploding on the scene. And we're following this poster, and so many people in the alt media community, patriot community, are posting and reposting and giving their 2 cents on what's going on. And frankly, nobody has any proof of any of this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the people that are responsible for really the degradation of humanity and society be brought to justice in a big way. But what are we chasing? It seems like we're chasing our tail, like it's a fairy tale. Yeah, we're chasing our fairy tale. That's what it is. And yet, so many of us are believing it as though it's fact, it's truth. And I keep asking people, where's the proof of this? You know, it started off with the CIA. Langley was surrounded by the Marines, and they went in there and took a bunch of stuff out, and the FBI, and now we're up to, what, 10,000 sealed indictments. And nobody has any idea if there are any sealed indictments. Nobody has any idea who the names enclosed on those documents that would be indicting these people. We all want to believe that it's certain people that we deem to be enemies of the state. And I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that. You know, I'll just throw out some names: Podesta, Clinton, Bush, Obama. And it's not just Republican, it's not just Democrat, it's all of them. So many people on the conservative side of things, or the right side of things, when Obama was in office, hated, and I mean hated, and rightfully so, the executive orders that he came out with. Remember, that's all he needs is a pen and a phone. You can pretty much write law from the Oval Office as if he's a king, and y'all hated that. Yet Trump does the same thing, and you're out there clapping. Trump just went and signed an executive order that basically gives him the right to seize assets of anybody that's in violations of what they deem to be human rights and some other stuff in there. And y'all are clapping, saying, oh, he's draining the swamp. And I'm telling you, that's as dangerous as Obama. Executive orders, man, I don't think they're constitutional. They might be administratively legal from an administrative standpoint, meaning the executive branch has the right to carry out the laws that the legislative branch have passed and deemed to be legal, and that's their role. And if they can do something to make the administration of that more effective, then I guess they can issue an executive order. But that doesn't have power over, the people necessarily. It might have power over the people inside the executive branch. But we need to come to terms with the fact that when Trump does something that Obama did, and you hated it when Obama did it, it's not good when Trump does it either. And also keep in mind that even if you think Trump is the Messiah, he's the second coming, and I don't mean that literally, guys, although many of you out there, it seems in the comments that you literally believe that, and that's delusional. But even if you believe he's the good guy in the white hat riding in on the white horse, and I don't, and you know that if you've watched me, there's going to be somebody after him. And that somebody after him is going to have that same power. And chances are that somebody after him is going to be on the other side from where you view yourself politically. And guess what? They're going to then wield that power against you. I do not like the fact that the government uses civil asset forfeiture. And of course, they misuse it. Now, it started out with, we're going to take away the drug dealer's money. And everyone said, yeah, that's a good thing. And now they're taking away anybody that's traveling down the road with a little bit of cash in their pocket. The police are stealing it from them right on the side of the road. Road pirates. That's a bad thing. And what Trump signed was an executive order on a grand scale that allows him to go after anyone, anywhere, for any reason that he deems fit. And that's scary. That is power that the federal government is not supposed to have. And yet, so many of us that view ourselves as patriots clap and applaud and say, good job, drain the swamp. Yeah, I just mentioned police. Let's talk about police and military for a second. And I fully realize that this is not going to be a popular discussion amongst the majority of the people out there that watch this channel. But gosh darn it, you need to hear it. Because very few people, I'll say that, are coming at you from this perspective. And I want you to think, I want you to really think and reconcile in your brain what you believe to be true and why. And gosh, I say it a lot, cognitive dissonance. You cannot sit there and reconcile the fact that you believed when Obama did something it was bad, and when Trump does the same thing it's good. I'll take the war in Syria. Obama was over there dropping bombs, and that was a bad thing. Bring our service people home, we shouldn't be there. Trump launches 20 some odd cruise missiles into Syria, and he's somehow helping protect our democracy. Well, it's patently false. And you got to reconcile that. You got to believe that. It's not right. It's not right when Obama did it. It's not right when Trump does it. It's not right, period. We should not be there. We should not be involved. It is not in the American public's best interest to be at war in the Middle East, or in North Korea, or with Russia, or with China, or with anybody for that matter. Why in the hell don't we mind our own business and take care of us here in this country? Man, we got enough problems here that we shouldn't be meddling in other people's problems all around the world. And then turn around and blame everyone else. Say, they're influencing the election. They're meddling in the election. You don't think the United States has been meddling in every election that has mattered to their interest in the last 60, 70 years? Of course they have. Probably longer than that. Let's talk about the police and the military for a second. So many of us want to continue to support the police and the military, and I understand that. Remember, guys, I'm a recovering statist. I used to do that. But without the police and without the military, these scumbags, these pedophile, satanic-worshipping, Luciferian pieces of shit would not be able to rule you. So it's these people, and I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm not saying all people in the military are bad. In fact, I believe most join the police force or the military because somewhere deep down they want to serve and protect, and they're patriotic and they believe in nationalism. But if you're there for any length of time and you start to see the bureaucracy and what you're really doing, if you're not completely retarded, you have to realize that you're there not to serve and protect, but to harass and collect from the police side. You're there not to protect democracy or our freedoms, because while you're over there killing innocent people in many cases and getting involved in things that you shouldn't be involved in, we're losing all of our rights back home. Right here, right now. Although I support the Bundys and the Patriot movement because I believe at its core, at its heart, they're good people trying to do the right thing and the government is in the wrong, I don't necessarily agree with their stance on everything they say about the Constitution or the government at large. But that doesn't mean I want to turn and walk away from these people. I believe that we have enough common interest We have enough commonality. We have enough in common that we should link arms and we should stand up against the tyrant, the giant, the United States government, the illegal corporation, the bankrupt corporation. But let's not fool ourselves for a second. When Harry Reid or Chuck Schumer or Barbara Boxer or any of these other scumbags, and we can mention a bunch of them on the right side, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, the list goes on and on and on. When any of these maniacs, these psychopaths, pass a law or espouse that something is legal or lawful, without the people in the police force and in the military backing that up with a gun and in the use of force, their words mean nothing. So don't think for a second that these people that go out there and arbitrarily enforce these rules or these laws, that they're innocent. They're not. We all have to make a choice, a conscious choice, about what we're willing to do for a paycheck and a pension. I've made my choice, for better or for worse. I made a great living doing what I was doing, and I wasn't hurting anybody or taking away anybody's rights, but I came to the realization that I was promoting a propaganda Ponzi scheme, and I was part of that. And I didn't like feeling like I was part of that. I want to be part of the solution. So I've made life changes, big life changes. And again, for better or for worse. Some of them feel like they're for worse in some respects. You know, not having that paycheck coming in sucks. And that's why, you know what, I thank you guys for watching these videos and sharing them. Super appreciate the fact that some of you have deemed whatever I have to say worthy enough to support me on Patreon. And I also appreciate the fact that you all know that just because you support me on Patreon doesn't mean I'm going to tell you what you think you want to hear. Because I don't. And my channel suffered because of it, because I'm not Trump, get on the Trump train, because I'm not running around and saying cops are great, military's great. That's what so many of y'all want to hear. And I understand it, because I'm a recovering statist. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But I also understand that I wasn't helping myself or anybody else believe in those things. I wouldn't be helping myself or this country if I just said the things that I thought were going to get me more views. The internet and YouTube is full of people out there that are espousing these ideas. You put QAnon in your post, in your title, and apparently you get a bazillion views. You put, you know, Trump train, MAGA, hashtag Make America Great Again. You put that somewhere in your video and you get 1 million views. There's a bunch of lunatics out there that are supporting their ruler. They're supporting their tyranny. What are we doing? Why are we chasing after this fairy tale? Show me some proof that any of this stuff that's being talked about out there is real. I hope it is. I'd love to see these people taken down. But I don't want to see it done with illegal executive orders. I don't want to see it because I know, and you must know in your heart of hearts, that that power will be used against us. It always is. If not immediately, at some point in the future. Understand this. This is a battle of good versus evil. And I mean that in the literal sense. This is a spiritual battle. The people that are running the world are pedophiles and Satanists. That's all coming out to be true. It's way worse than you think, too. I've watched plenty of videos with testimony from people that grew up inside of this, that were trafficked sex slave children. And I believe their testimony. Now, is everything everyone says true in that? No, of course not. I'm sure there's some liars and some embellishments and so on and so forth. But man, I don't think you can make this stuff up. Some of the things I hear these people testify to, that they were exposed to and had to deal with in their life, was horrible. And these are the people that made it. These are the people that lived. So many didn't. So every time you pay taxes, every time you support the machine for voting, every time you vote for the lesser of two evils, understand that you're still supporting evil. And I'm talking about a drastic change here, guys. We've got to drastically rethink what our role is in supporting this machine and what we can do to change it. Like, really change it. Not pull a lever, not, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down a video. That doesn't change anything. I mean, what changes can you make in your life that'll have a dramatic impact on you and your life? And if enough of us do that, and this doesn't require bullets, man. We don't have to fire any bullets. If enough of us do that, their machine shuts down. They're not set up for that. They're set up for compliance. Damn near 100% compliance. And boy, do they have it. And I totally understand why. I mean, because if we all understood that it was voluntary to pay income taxes, and they didn't have the police with guns or the military with guns backing up a threat of force against us for not doing it, how many of you would actually sign up and give away 20% of your paycheck or 30% of your paycheck or 40% of your paycheck? I wouldn't. Would you? No, of course not. So even Trump, when he comes out and, oh, yeah, we made America great again because we cut the taxes, they still aim to rule you. They still think that they're entitled to a percentage of the fruits of your labor. Are they? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that they're entitled to any percentage of the fruits of your labor, your hard work, your ingenuity, your ideas? Man, we got to rethink this, guys. I don't have all the answers, but my answer here today is to question you and hopefully help you reconcile in your head why you believe what you believe. And is it really true? And let's not forget Israel, guys. Understand, I was talking to my mom last night, and she was talking about how Iran, oh, watch out for Iran, and Germany's going to rise again. And my mother, you know, she reads some probably alt publications that come in that would be considered maybe, I don't know, religiously out there on the wing somewhere in the fringe. But she's, by and large, you know, a Fox News, mainstream media, propaganda machine. She's a product of that. Although her and I see eye to eye on similar things, she believes that Iran is going to be the enemy. And I'm saying, no, I understand that we're fighting these wars over in the Middle East to further Israel's agenda. And who controls Israel? The Zionists. Who do you think really controls America? The Zionists. How many dual Israeli-American citizens are within our government in the cabinet level and any bureaucratic position? How many of them? There's a slew of them. I'm sorry, folks. You can't drain the swamp by surrounding yourself with swamp creatures. And regardless of who's in power, regardless of what party, regardless of what their name is, they are surrounded by swamp creatures. You got to know that that's true. There's no 3D or 4D chess or 100-degree chess. There's no chess game going on here, except for the fact, and I heard somebody say that, you have to realize the only chess game going on here, if there is a chess game, you're the pawn. I'm the pawn. Understand that. The pawn has no real power. We're used. We're sacrificed. And that's how they view us. We have to come to terms with that. We have to realize what we're up against. And then we have to be willing to make real changes in our life that hopefully will make a difference in our lives. And if that proliferates out because enough people do that, it will have a big change and impact on the world. But you got to start with you. You got to be willing to do, frankly, what is hard work. You can't sit back and think pulling a lever or pushing a button every 4 years is going to make any change. It's not. You're replacing one shithead for another. Because the people behind these people, the puppet masters that control these people, are the real ones in control. I hope I told you some things that make sense and make you think. I hope you don't hate my guts and turn me off forever because of my views, but you might decide to do that. And if you do, that's your choice. But boy, are we making a mistake if we start to turn away from opinions that differ from ourselves. I'm listening to other opinions. Frankly, I don't agree with a lot of them. And it's unfortunate that so many have been co-opted in this quote-unquote truth community, patriot community, that they're being used by the very machine that they espouse to be against, to lie to us, to further propagate, brainwash us. And it's sad. That's it, guys. Pretty simple. Have a great day.